Welcome to the channel. Today we have a new major order, and it's about collecting samples to help Super Earth construct Gloom-resistant technology. I guess we all have to pitch in on this one, if we ever want to be able to go into the Gloom. But first, and I want to talk a little about the numbers in the game. The whole Galactic War is a number game. Here we have Vernon Wells with low resistance, and the number 1.5% displayed. So what does this mean? For liberation campaigns, planets currently have 1 million points of planet strength. You can't see this in the game, but if you go to a third-party app like the Helldiver Companion and click more information on a planet, it's shown on the left with the current liberation progress. When we know the planet strength, we also know what 1.5% of that actually mean. For Vernon Wells right now it says low resistance, but 1.5% out of 1 million is 15,000 liberation points that are lost every hour from the Helldiver's efforts to win the planet. If we look at Cirrus instead, it says low resistance, but only 1%. And that means instead of 15,000 points lost every hour, the Helldivers only lose 10,000 points. So it's 30% easier to win the liberation campaign against Cirrus than it is on Vernon Wells. Or we could also say that we need about 30% more Helldivers on Vernon Wells than Cirrus to make the same progress. But there's also another twist when it comes to Helldivers' progress to liberating a planet. The developers have added a secret mechanic that scales with the number of Helldivers that are currently active. They've done this so that liberation of a planet doesn't fluctuate too much when there are a ton of people online, and so it isn't going to be impossible to contribute when there are very few Helldivers in the game. The downside to this mechanic is that if there are a lot of Helldivers online, but they dive on other planets, they are indirectly hurting the efforts of the Helldivers trying to liberate a planet, since the game is now awarding them less points for the same type of operations. Or you can actually say, this is always true. What matters the very most in the current liberation system is the number of Helldivers trying to liberate a planet compared to the active number of Helldivers. For Vernon Wells, for example, the resistance is called low and at 1.5%. About 25% of current active players are diving on the planet trying to liberate it. But it will take over 4 days of tireless efforts to liberate it. That's about the same length as a major order for a single planet in the galaxy. Okay, so while I am editing this video, Joel has been looking at the Galactic War and updated the resistance. 1.5% resistance is now labeled as average resistance instead of low. Hell yeah! They probably noticed that Helldivers weren't making much progress on Vernon Wells, and that the better option for the bot divers would have been to liberate Acer Pass first, which only sit at 1%. This is much better since 0.5% has such a big impact on the progress needed to liberate the planet. Hopefully we can see a shift where Helldivers now try to liberate the easiest planets first, unless there is a major order going on. One last thing about numbers before we're done. Cirrus with low resistance and 1% will take 2 days for the Helldivers to liberate fully at the current pace and with the current amount of divers. That means that if we ignore how long we've been diving at Cirrus before now, Cirrus will build up an additional 480,000 defense points on top of the 1 million that was its initial strength. If fewer players dive on Cirrus and it takes 4 days to liberate, suddenly the planet will have built up an additional 960,000 planet strength. I think you can see where I'm going with this. This makes it very, very important to try and dive on the same planet as everyone else if you want to help out the Galactic War. The quicker the Helldivers can win a planet, the easier it will be. Low, average, medium, and high resistance basically will tell you how many of active Helldivers will be needed to even be able to win that planet. Now if we take a look at the new major order, Joel has set both sample planets to high resistance at 3%. This means that more than 50% of active Helldivers are needed to make any progress in liberating the planet. Now we're not meant to liberate these planets since the orders are simply to collect samples. And well, frankly, if we liberated the planet ahead of time, we wouldn't be able to finish the MO. One last thing. Joel has now set Cirrus to only 0.5% resistance. He really wants the Helldivers to clear this planet from bugs. Anyways, I'm going to dive in. I want to thank you for all the support I've gotten. If you can leave a like or subscribe, it means a lot. Over and out.